wouldn't just be a monster MMA fest. It's like, no, wait a minute, my mother's down there, and I don't want her to die. So it's much more personal in that regard.
I think that the challenge is always to make the emotional aspects of the story connect as good as the monsters are done, so that whatever you're doing emotionally, it feeds how much better the monster is when the monster is there. That part of it, you have to challenge yourself and challenge the writing and challenge everybody on set to make it that good, so that it doesn't get overshadowed and people aren't waiting for a monster because they have to get through this dumb scene. You want to make that scene matter, and then when the monsters come, makes them matter more.
I mean, they have great impact if they have a much better impact if they are messing with people who you care about, who you really care about. You're into their life, and they're the people who are dealing with this in this scientific, in this sci-fi world of what if this really happened. It wouldn't just be a monster MMA fest. It's like, no, wait a minute, my mother's down there, and I don't want her to die. So it's much more personal in that regard. That's what we try to go after here. I think that's a really good question. For me, what drives a lot of what goes on with older Shaw is what happened to younger Shaw when they were having this triangular love affair, and what came out of it, and the difficult things that came out of it, sort of in a Greek tragic way. And I like dealing with that. Again, it's what I think it helps draw the audience into, you almost forget what their job is, what they're after, what they're really doing as on a day-to-day, because it means so much on an emotional scale between the individuals. It comes to it. We really get further and further into that in season 2. It starts to come to a head in a very strange way in episode 7, and when we finally get to the end of this year, you begin to answer you've answered a lot of the questions that we've set up in 1 and 2 earlier on.
Thank you for noticing. I don't speak Spanish well. Un poquito. High school Spanish in the United States, pretty much. But I did have, I had a lot of Spanish to speak in this one scene, and I learned it backwards and forwards. I worked with the dialect coach. I tried my hardest to sound really good. And then as I went in to work that day, I was like, why am I trying to sound like I'm from here? I'm an American guy coming into San Soledad. Of course, I don't speak good Spanish. It's okay if I don't speak good Spanish. And then all of my pressure that I put on myself, I sort of relieved. But no, I don't speak Spanish well. But it was a lot of fun to speak a different language, like I knew what I was talking about, and get a response from people in Spanish that also thought I knew what I was talking about. Yeah, that my dad and I did not get bit by a snake or a spider. That's a fun fact.
That's a fun fact. We did not get bit by a spider
in Australia.
Or a snake, and we were in Australia for what,
8 months.
8 months, I don't know.
That's got to be a record.
We walked away.